right, we start the hour with this. Despite the abolishment of corporal punishment in South Africa way back in 1997, it is still used as a form of discipline. Now, that is according to the Children Exposed to Maltreatment report released by Statistics South Africa. Let's speak to Stats SA for more. We're joined by Social Statistics Chief Director Solly Molayi. Mr. Molayi, thank you for being with us. We appreciate your time. Tell us about the rationale behind this research and how did you conduct it? How did you uncover that corporal punishment is still being used?
Thank you so much, and good evening to the viewers. So the rationale behind us preparing this report, we look at the number of many factors. One, if you look at our population, 34% of our population is actually made up of the children, meaning 0 to 17. The second part is that we also wanted to understand the maltreatment that's exposed to children. So if you look at the WHO definition, they define it into 4 categories. One is the issue around the physical violence, 2 around the sexual violence, emotional, and neglect. So specifically for this report, we went into our normal household surveys that we've been conducting for the past more than 10 years, and trying to mine into those particular data sets and see what are some of the indicators that we can draw from those data sets to actually inform our colleagues who are in the policy space, especially Department of Education and also Social Development, to give a sense in terms of what are some of the issues that children are exposed to.
So and it looks like you spoke to the children themselves and asked if they had experienced corporal punishment.
So the way we're conducting our surveys, we go to a household and then we get information from the household. So we didn't went to schools to speak to children from schools. So we went to household to try to understand some of these issues coming from the household. So this information that we put on the report is actually coming directly from the household itself.
Okay, so the figure went down from 18.5% of the learners, the young people, had experienced corporal punishment in 2009 to 8.2% in 2019. So 8.2% in recent years still experiencing corporal punishment. Should we be happy with the downward trend, or is that figure still way too high?
I think when you look at the numbers, the way they are, yes, there is a trend in terms of the downward trend, but I think the numbers, if you drill it down, it shows that corporal punishment is still a measure of punishment that's still being experienced by children, specifically at schools by teachers. So as much as the numbers are dropping down, however, there's still around a million of children in South Africa that are still experiencing it.
And this is really interesting because it seems like something fueling this or helping this is the tacit or explicit consent from parents. So correct me if I'm reading this wrong, but you found that almost 40% of households, so that would be the parents as well, believe that physical punishment is necessary for things like drinking or being caught smoking. Some even believe it's okay if a child is punished for being late for class. Just tell us more.
Yes, so we also wanted to get a sense from the household whether when do they think it's a suitable situation to actually punish, and as you say, you have already mentioned some of the figures. So the top one, they're saying that it is okay when a child is caught drinking, which is around the 8%. That's what it, and then also looking at how if you look at it from the issue of fighting with the fellow colleagues, meaning the learners themselves. So it also warranty, according to the household, that it also warranty that corporal punishment can actually be exposed to children. So there is a still section of the society that still believes that corporal punishment is another form of discipline that one can actually use. And the other thing that we also found is that we also asked whether when you look at it from the household side, meaning at home, whether do you think there's any situation that you think it will be suitable for you as a parent to actually also exercise or also expose your child to a corporal punishment. And the figures are almost similar. I think the household, they also mentioned that if a child is arguing back with the parent, there was around 31% who said, or if a child is telling a lie, or even fighting with their siblings, that if that's the case, then it is okay for parents to actually conduct or even apply the corporal punishment. So these are some of the findings that we found. As much as you said on your introduction, as much as 20 years down the line after the corporal punishment is being prohibited in South Africa, we still have sections of societies that are still believing that there's certain situations that are warranting to actually apply it.
And those beliefs are very strong. So that's not in your department now. Basic education has to deal with this. But were you surprised at the findings? We are very focused on bullying, on child violence in the news. But this reveals that the violence that was most common, actually experienced by the students, was corporal punishment at the hands of teachers.
Yeah. Correct, yes. So, and maybe let me also highlight something. Then there is other form of violence that they are also exposed to. For example, there is also a physical violence by teachers, which it is also a second violence that the children are actually exposed to. And then there is verbal abuse by teachers with came at position 3, and then physical abuse by children, by their peers, meaning by learners. And what other thing that we also found from the research itself is that we found that the verbal abuse, it actually have increased when you compare it from 2009 to 2019. So there is an increase in the verbal abuse that learners are actually experiencing. And what we also found is that girls are prone to actually experiencing that type of abuse. So whereas in terms of the physical violence of it, boys are more likely to experience it compared to the girls. So, but in general, when you look at any sort of violence, in general, for children under between 0 and 17, girls are more prone to actually experiencing violence, which is something that we have found from our findings.
How sad, because the way a teacher treats you can really affect your confidence and the trajectory of your life. Thank you very much for unpacking some of those details for us. That was Social Statistics Chief Director Solly Molayi.